Okay, time to continue that fanfic I know we all love to hate. And you know, the best time to do these things is when I'm like really late because it's I think it's a lot better when I can just pull these things out of my butt when I'm really tired because I get sleep drunk and it just makes it better. But anyways, let's hop in. I know all of you want to know the backstory of how it all started. Okay. So Shadow sits tails down on the tree trunk and Shadow starts to explain the story. That's where we left off. He says it all starts way back in 1987. The days where Eggman was Eggman and Sonic was Sonic and Tails, well, he wasn't even around yet. He was still not born. Shadow was, being Shadow, freaking 101 years old with freaking Eggman. And Eggman had a little project. Ugh, my voice. So Eggman had a little project. He said, Sonic has freaking ruined my plans for about 59 years now. And I need to think of something because I'm pretty sure after 59 years, wherever he's going, it ain't working. So he sits down and he starts to think. He starts to think a little more. And then he does that one trick that I know works all the time where your mind goes blank and then something just pops in. So he started ruffling through all his papers and brought out this old project that is super duper, super duper, duper, super duper duper great grandfather Biggie Cheese thought. And he opened it up and he saw it. He knew exactly what to do with that project that the one and only Biggie Cheese thought. So right away he got started. He started gathering all the freaking metal. And he started pounding the freaking thing with a wrench as hard as he could to get it up to level 3. And then he destroyed it and moved it somewhere else because it did not work in that spot he put it in. And then he smacked it a bit more with his metal. And then it eventually became level 3 in the right spot. And then he opened up the portal, where all of a sudden, a Sonic got sucked in. Not the Sonic we all know and love, but a Sonic from another dimension. And it came out. And Eggman's first thought was, oh wow, Sonic's dazed, okay, time to kill it. And then he killed the Sonic, and then the Sonic died, a horrible, painful death. And then that Sonic who died was mad, he was furious. So he wanted to get revenge on everyone because clearly it was everyone's fault that he died, even unliving, unborn Tails. So he became a ghost, a super duper scary ghost. Now what Eggman's machine was meant to do was to bring another him from another dimension and basically recreate Sonic Generations. But that didn't work. How it worked was it accidentally brought a Sonic instead of an Eggman, and he killed that Sonic, and then that Sonic became a ghost, and then that ghost Sonic somehow started possessing the Sonic we all know and love, and became Sonic.exe. All Shadow knew was that Eggman killed Sonic, and he could put the rest of the pieces together that freaking possessed Sonic and all that fun stuff. And Shadow says that's how it all started. That's how Sonic became the .exe. And Tails just shakes his head. He just shakes his head back and forth, saying, why the hell would Sonic want to do something like that? And Shadow, well, he just said because we are number one. That's why. And Tails sat down and just looked at the sky. He saw an evening star shining bright. See what I did there? And he didn't know what to do next. Oh yeah, and by the way, Vector was done chopping down the trees. In fact, Angel Island had like no trees at that point, and Vector had like 30 stacks of paper with 1,000 paper each. Tails just looked at that paper and just said, what are you gonna do with all of this paper? And Vector just said, I'm gonna find the computer room. And I'm gonna put the paper in the computer room. And I'm gonna print as much stuff as I can. So Vector somehow put 30 stacks of 1,000 pieces of paper on his back, perfectly balanced, and started running towards the computer room off of Angel Island without falling in the water as fast as he could. And luckily he didn't run into the fog. So now that chaos was over, Tails just looks at Mighty and says, okay, what do we do now? And Mighty said, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to sit here for a while. And Tails asked why, and Mighty said, because the plot demands it. So they sat there for about 10 minutes doing absolutely nothing, just letting their minds wander off, staring at the water. Until they heard a chuckle come from the other side of that one tree Vector forgot to cut down. And then they saw him. It was Knuckles.exe, who was killed by Sonic.exe. Because unlike Sonic, he doesn't chuckle, he'd rather flex his knuckles. So, Tails gets terrified at the chuckling Knucks, and Mighty, well, he could care less. I mean, he's seen Knuckles day and forth, and he doesn't care. So, Mighty spin dashes into Knuckles, which doesn't work, because we all know spin dashes fail at Knuckles. He just ducks, and it doesn't work. He just rolls, that's what happened. He just rolls, and he dodges it. So, Mighty, being a dummy, keeps rolling into Knuckles, and it's not working, and Knuckles punches Mighty, and he chuckles. He keeps chuckling. And he doesn't stop chuckling, and all this chuckling starts frustrating Tails. So Tails runs at Knuckles and swings his whip at him, aka his tail. He whips his tail at him, which somehow got fixed after 10 minutes. And Knuckles flies off of Angel Island and says, "Oh no." And then right after, Tails saw the fog coming right towards him. So he grabbed Mighty and he ran. He ran where Vector ran. And Shadow, well, Shadow was gone. I'm pretty sure he knew where to go, but Shadow was gone. So Tails started to run where Mighty was because he knew, not Mighty, where Vector was, because he knew that if he went towards that fog, he would be utterly, brutally screwed over by the fog like last time. And Tails did not want his true tails broken again, so there's that. So he ran toward where Vector was going, and he ended up in a city. It wasn't a burnt down city, it was a city where you have to survive. You gotta keep that dream alive, because everything is free, can't you see? So, in this city, Tails started looking around. He started seeing people and more people who were unaware of the fatal fog that was gonna utterly screw everyone over. Until somehow, in some way, 5 seconds later, he sees the fog come like a freaking tsunami. And of course there were screams behind them because the plot demands that too. So Tails had to escape from the city, so he ran, and Mighty somehow woke up and ran with Tails. And they started in a first vicious city escape. And they started running and running and running until they were eventually out of that city faster than I can clap with my left hand. And then, after they left the city and the fog was long gone, they found it. They found the computer room. And I'm gonna end it off there because the plot demands that too. I gotta end these things on a cliffhanger because you don't want it, because I gotta somehow drag all you guys back so you know what happens in the computer room with freaking Vector and all his paper. Okay, well that's it. Alright, see you guys in part 3.